Hey there, adventurers, it's Norwolf. Welcome back to my tabletop role-playing realm. I'm going to do a quick video today covering the Perilous Lands, which is the setting for the Powers and Perils role-playing game that was published by Avalon Hill back in 1984. So the box itself, I do like the cover on here, is kind of this typical Avalon Hill bookcase game format box here. And inside there are three booklets: the map book, the culture book, and the site book. So I'm going to just do a quick read of the off the back of the box here. And so the Perilous Lands is a monumental work that details an entire fantasy continent. It is intended to be used as the setting for your Powers and Perils campaign. The books in the Perilous Lands are its map book, a culture book, and site book. The pages of the map book detail the physical environment, political boundaries, and population centers for the continent and its associated islands. Each of its 26 four-color maps connects to those that surround it to provide a strategic maneuver area that can easily be handled in play, while still allowing journeys of epic proportions. The culture book details the past history, populations, armed strength, economy, personality, legal systems, allies, enemies, and common languages for each of the more than 100 cultures. Millennia of the land's recorded history is woven into a comprehensive epic tapestry that brings it to life. The site book completes the package. Its pages are detailed with more than 15 areas with precise details and general information that the referee can develop into complete adventures for his world. In addition, it contains special addenda and aids that will help the referee to use these books in play. All told, Perilous Lands provides you with a rock-solid hub for any Powers and Perils campaign. With this living world as a foundation, your campaign can easily soar into unparalleled heights of dynamic and compelling adventure. So, anyways, that's the box. So the booklets themselves here, just do a quick flip. The map book, when you open it up, you can get a view of the overall continent, and that entire continent is detailed in the 26 maps that you can find in the booklet. Brief information about the terrains. Here it'll show you kind of how the different map pages all connect together. But even then, when you look at any particular map, in the bottom corner, it shows you, the map, you're on map 1, and what are the adjoining maps. So, if you pop up to map number 5, and again, you'll see, a very nice map of the area, the different cultures that can be referenced within that area, and you can go into the culture book, and the page numbers are provided to get the details you need. And then, of course, what are the other maps that surround this particular one? So, it's quite nicely laid out. I do like these maps. By the way, the hexes here are 20-mile hexes, so it's easy. It would be quite easy to, if you want to dive into details of whatever area you're using. You can use 5-mile hexes or 1-mile hexes, whatever you need for your particular situation, and kind of and be able to flesh out things in a bit more. So, anyways, yeah. So that's the map book. I think at one point I even photocopied all these pages and cut out the maps and taped them all together. I probably still have a wall map somewhere rolled up in a closet. But yeah, so that's the map book. The culture book, as mentioned, has over 100 different cultures in it. When you kind of dive into a particular area or culture or kingdom, like Danera, for example, which has some detail in book 5 of the core box set. It tells you which maps it's on, so maps 5 and 6. A little bit of the history of the kingdom itself. Current populations of the major settlements, information about I guess it's a feudal society. A little bit of information about the different dukes and kind of what they can raise in the way of foot soldiers, cavalry, militia, and totals. So you do want to get into some larger scale combats and things like that. There's always some details for some of these kingdoms in here. Gets into information about the kingdom, its economies, the religions, personalities, the personality of the citizens and stuff like that. Their legal system, their allies, enemies, and common languages within the kingdom. So that's and each of the different nations or tribal cultures or whatever have their that sort of detail in here. When you get towards the back of the book, it gets into, let's see here, covers off some of the linguistic information, the basic characteristics of the barbarian nations as well as the civilized nations, kind of what their Earth equivalent is. For these guys here, can't even pronounce that, but it's the North African Berbers. And these guys are, average is 66 inches tall, 150 pounds. Their favorite weapons are light lances, scimitars, and composite bows. And some miscellaneous other information about them. When you get into, and similar information provided for the civilized cultures. So the Caldo are, 67 inches on average, 165 pounds. Their common weapons are pikes, short swords, and javelins. And their ancestry, is based off of Kaldans are of Kazi stock. See the Kazi. So, and then last but not least, in this book, gets into some caricatures of the different barbarian warriors, their tribes. So it gives you a rough idea what they might look like. You can kind of build from there, and the civilized peoples as well. So they're warriors. Again, you can kind of get a flavor for how you might describe the citizens of that particular nation or those civilized peoples. So that's the culture book and the site book. So the site book has 17 major encounter sites that you can take and flesh out and make into a full-blown adventure that you and your players can enjoy. There's two that aren't covered in here, so the Tower of the Dead and Doom Manor. Tower of the Dead is a separate box set, and Doom Manor was detailed in the Heroes magazine back in the day. So the Tower of the Dead, again, it's another box, but it's a much thinner box than the bookcase ones. And maybe I'll do a bit of a dive into these this into some point in the future. So, what else here? Tells you, some of the information provided are, what are their attitudes and goals, the different powers and forces involved of what's kind of going on at that particular site, kind of a high-level site description, and then you can kind of go from there and flesh it out in as much detail to make it as big an adventure or as small as an adventure you want. You get a little bit more information about some of the major areas within the Perilous Lands, southern jungles, Great Desert, etc. A little more information about the calendars, and glossary of the gods. So there's definitely a plethora of different gods here. When you look at some of these, that gives them some other names they might be known by. And of course, in the nation's descriptions, it tells you which of the gods they follow as well. So, culture parameters kind of gives you an idea of how the different nations are aligned, or the different cultures are aligned, whether they're chaos, law, elder, etc. And I do believe there's a version 2, an updated version of this document or these documents on the powersandperils.org website, which I think, if I remember correctly, we'll also add in some of the new alignments like neutral and neutral or unaligned and whatever. So, anyways, that is a quick flip through of the books and the box. So, anyways, I did have a question posed to me in the last video that I put together that was asking, so why don't I use the Perilous Lands for my solo adventure, and probably why didn't I use it in my last campaign that I ran? And I guess for what I'm doing with my solo and my last campaign, I really wanted to keep it simple. I didn't want to necessarily be tied to past history or a work, the works that somebody else had put together. And the little kingdom that I have is fairly limited in detail. And what I wanted was the opportunity for the characters to kind of dabble in a kind of a greenfield sandbox environment where their actions and what they wanted to do kind of helped flesh out or grow what that kingdom became. So it just gave me an opportunity to string a series of little adventures together that rounded out some sort of a larger story that was part of that kingdom. So yeah, that's I don't have anything against Perilous Lands. If I was to kind of run a more serious, larger campaign, I would definitely be basing it in Perilous Lands. I'd probably start with Genera because there's a little more information that's provided for it, particularly in as I said in book 5 of the box, the core rule set. So that's basically it. Again, if you have any comments, questions, or anything else, please put them in down below. And happy adventuring. We'll talk to you guys later. Thanks for tuning in.